Yo, 2014 GMC Terrain. I think a Chevy Equinox is about the same job. I need to take this front bumper off. There's some T20 Torxes on here. Got a plastic fender clip here. Take the center out of that, pop it out. These come out. Looks like I got 4 7mm. More T20s on the top of this thing. I think I gotta take these clippy things off here too. I think that's the only one I need to take off. All this stuff should be loose. And there's a couple of fog lights hiding up here. I can just turn them, take them out, let them hang. There's one on each side. Now if I'm right about this, I should be able to pull this out on both sides and somehow gracefully rip this front end off. There's some other stupid tabs and some bad spots. Looks like I might have broke them a little bit. I got a plastic air dam thing here. It's got to come off. There's some plastic clips on this. It appears that it's clipped into the top of this AC condenser. So I'm just getting my fingers way back. It's clipped in way back on the radiator. So I just stuck my fingers way under here and pulled up on them and they popped up. I got another air dam thing on the bottom. Looks like I got some kind of temp sender or something here. I'll unplug that. Just pull this tab up and unplug it. Take the plastic clip off of that. There's one on each side. This panel's got a row of clips on the bottom here. Looks like 3 of those, and this comes out. This air conditioning condenser has to come out, so you need to safely discharge the refrigerant in here. These are 13mm. I already discharged the refrigerant on this. And I have 2 13mm for this condenser. It's a little crusty. Put a little lube on the thread. I bought some Lucas chain lube for my e-bike. This stuff's great. I'm starting to use that over all the other lubricants I have for some reason. Pull this up and out. I don't know if it's a fad or if it's actually working better. There's a little plastic clip here for this air conditioning line. Pop that off so that can flop around. And then I have 2 more 13mm for this radiator. Take these support brackets off. Oh, I heard something hit the ground. Fender clip. That's not supposed to come out of there. And it's super loose. And I gotta stick a pick in here and bend this tab. Kind of like that. Hopefully that bent that tang enough. Yup. Clipped right in there. Upper radiator hose clamp. And I can make a mess of coolant. I did that so I can pull the radiator back and hopefully I can get at everything else. I'm seeing a drain down on the bottom on the same side as that upper radiator hose. I can get that pliers in here and turn it counterclockwise and pull out on it while I wiggle it back and forth. And it should start urinating all over the place. This thing's all done dribbling, so I can close it off. I have an electrical connector for the fan here. There's some child-proof connector on this. I think I gotta push it back, like so. Then I can push down on it and wiggle it around and pull this thing out. Like that. And there's like 3 clippy things for these wires. And they like to break when you pop them off. There's one here. I'm trying to save the thing. And that one broke. There's another one right here. And then on the fan, there's another child-proof connector on that. I'm going to take that off without doing video because I can't get a camera down there. That connector comes off much the same way as the other one. Oh, I have a couple of transmission lines here I can get off. This one I can get at pretty easily. You just have to pop this plastic keeper, and there's an E-clip in here you can pull out. It's easy enough to get at. That guy, and you can just give this a wiggle and pop it off. Thankfully it's been sitting long enough so the top line isn't dripping any fluid. The bottom one might, I don't know. That one's a little more fun to get at. I can sort of get at this one from the bottom. I ended up taking that E-clip off with a pick down here. Give that line a wiggle and pop it off. And that one's gonna dribble. Nice black fluid. There's a connector on here holding all these lines on. You can see that. I just wiggled it and pulled it out with a fan shroud. Now I can work on that lower radiator hose. I'm going to let this dribble as much fluid out of here as possible first though, because I got to change out the pan. I don't want tranny fluid in my coolant pan. I think I got everything disconnected. This should just come right out of here. Like so. Looks like there's only a couple more things I need to swap over. I need to take these rubber things off. A couple of 13 millimeters on this coolant fan. That just slides up and comes off. Out with the old, in with the new. That doesn't look very happy. Looks like there's a little Chinese corrosion on this fitting here. I'm going to put a little lube on these. There's O-rings in here that seal them up. Some people use dielectric grease, transmission fluid, whatever. You don't want to get these bolts too tight here. If I was to care about such a thing, I don't know, I'd get them about 8 foot-pounds. I just get really close on my ratchet and just make sure you don't over-tighten them. It's just plastic. Pretty big bolts for a couple pieces of plastic. Everything's pretty much plug and play now, so I'm just going to slam it all in here. Kind of holding onto them rubber pucks to make sure they don't fall out. These transmission lines should just plug in nice and easy. You want to make sure they click, and you want to look at this E-clip, and you want to make sure that the lip on the line is in past this clip, and this clip is, how should I explain it, sprung in all the way. And then this is a safety thing. It keeps that clip in and it keeps this line from coming out. If you want to make sure too, give it a wiggle and a good tug and make sure these don't come out. I'm just going to slam the rest of this together real quick. This clip for this fan is sort of not cool. You really want to make sure that's clipped in all the way. I really had to force that on there. These clips on here kind of suck. Since these silly plastic clips on this fan shroud broke, I'm going to put a zip tie or two on here wherever I feel like. I don't feel like reusing these pinch clamps either. If you do put these back on, you want to put them on the same exact way they came off. There'll be marks on the hose where you can see where it was. Put it on the same way. If you were to torque these bolts down, which I'd say no one ever does, I would make a guess and say about 14 foot-pounds. Before I put the AC condenser back in, I'm going to see if I got some seals for these. They're little rubber O-ring type washer seals. They actually look good. I'm going to see if I got a couple new ones. If they're all crushed down, you know they're not going to be any good, but they still look pretty lumpy. Amazingly enough, I found a couple of them I had laying around from other projects. I got some refrigerant oil I'm going to put on them. You want to make sure these are oiled. Make sure these sealing surfaces are clean. If I was to guess, I would say 14 foot-pounds of torque on these. Should be plenty fine. I wouldn't tighten these any more than about 12 foot-pounds either. I got my evac pump hooked up to the low side line. I'm just going to let this go for 15 minutes and make sure it pulls a good vacuum and doesn't leak. There's no holes in the bottom of that radiator for these clips, so I got to use just these two. So I can plug in my sensor now. Since I'm not enjoying the fact that there's no clips here, I'm going to try to put some self-drilling screws in here. I'm going to get a little creative with the extensions and the sockets and the stuff. Try not to poke any holes in the radiator. That seems to be creative enough. I don't know what the easy trick is to get this radiator shroud clipped in here, but I don't know, I just use a long screwdriver to kind of push everything back into place. Seems to be in there. Now there's the little funky tab I couldn't help but break. I don't know how you would get that apart without breaking it. But anyways, I think on the Equinox there's a bolt on here, but on these there's not, and you just gotta pull this around that tab and just pop it in and do the same on both sides and slap the rest of it together. All these little 7mm and E's, they get tightened to not very tight at all. I turn my drill almost all the way down for these. Well, I've been sucking on this system for well over 15 minutes, right at 30 inches. I made this amazing apparatus for this vacuum pump myself. Now I can just turn off this ball valve, shut the pump off, and leave it sit for about a half an hour and make sure that needle doesn't go down at all. This has been sitting for well over a half an hour, and it's still stuck at 30 inches of vacuum, so it's not leaking. Since I drained all the refrigerant out of it and I took the AC condenser off and put it back on, it always loses a little bit of oil, so I'm going to add an ounce of PEG 46. High sides right here. Hook up my hoses. I got an air conditioning sticker here that says system charge is 0.65 kilograms or 1.43 pounds. 1.43 pounds should be about 1 pound 7 ounces. Turn on this cold side. Fill this baby up. Got 1 pound, 6.5 ounces. Looks like that's all it's going to take without me starting and running the car and turning the AC on, so that should be good. Turn my valving off. I've been filling it up with coolant. I put about a gallon of it in there so far. I'm just going to start the car and run the AC real quick and try to cycle that stuff a little bit. It's really cold in my garage, so these pressures are actually good. Now there's no transmission dipstick on this thing, and I'm going to want to add a little bit of transmission fluid. I measured what I took out of it. It's just under 4 ounces, and there's probably, I'm going to guess and say there's an extra ounce in the radiator, the transmission cooler. And down here there's a plug. It's right in between all this junk. I'm going to turn that counterclockwise, take this plug out. I got a funnel I can stick in this hole, a nice long tube funnel. And I got some Deck 6 here. I'm just going to add 5 ounces. 8, 10, so half of this. That should be good. Put that cap back in on it. Then I'm going to heat up the car. I'm going to get this coolant to cycle. They got a cold fill, but no hot fill. The hot's going to be up here somewhere, probably. So I'm just going to get it in that range somewhere when it's hot and the coolant's all cycled and burped up, and call it a job. Okay, bye.